She has real sources. Two differences between our side and their side. She comes out of Project Veritas. Oh, there you go. See? And, you know, sometimes she's out there, and sometimes she goes out there and brings it back in here, where people can see that there's a lot of stuff going on that none of us ever imagined would be going on in this country. And that's all my introduction for Laura Loomer.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Laura Loomer. I am a conservative investigative journalist. I'm 26 years old. I'm originally from Tucson, Arizona, but I went to college in Miami, Florida at Barry University, where I majored in broadcast journalism and minored in political science. While in college, I was actually president of College Republicans. And I also worked for a while at WSBN Channel 7, but then I ended up meeting James O'Keefe my junior year of college. And while I met James O'Keefe, you know, I went up to him and I said, "You're going to need someone to go undercover in the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016, and that's me, right?" And I had James for a while, you know, and as a young college kid, I kind of hit my self-esteem a little. But then I got a call one day for James O'Keefe. And he asked me, "How soon can you make it to New York?" So I hopped on a plane the next day, and I flew to New York while I was, you know, still in school. And from there, we just started working together immediately. You know, my first story with him was undercover in a Black Lives Matter event, and I got Erica Garner on camera saying that Al Sharpton was all about the money, and it landed on the front page of the New York Post.
Second, Laura.
That was still while I was in college, of course. And as a president of College Republicans, you know, you get a lot of discrimination and a lot of pushback. I'm sure a lot of you may be students yourself, or you have grandkids, or kids who are in school, and they probably tell you about how crazy the bias is, right? Or if you watch Tucker Carlson, you see it every night, some campus craziness. And so I was telling James, you know, as president of College Republicans, I can't have any of my speakers, but I bet you that if I were to have an ISIS club on campus, they would totally allow me to have my club. So that's what I did. I got a hidden camera, I went undercover, and I got the administrators saying that I could have my fake ISIS club, sympathetic students in support of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, on camera. And it was an undercover investigation, and it ended up going viral. And 1 month before graduation, I was actually kicked out of college. And I was set to be valedictorian. I had 4.0 GPA, top of my class, and we replicated the same video actually at Cornell, and it made its way to Donald Trump, who hadn't then announced that he was running for president, and he actually called James O'Keefe at Project Veritas and asked him to go to Trump Tower and wrote him a check, right, to support Project Veritas because he liked the video idea so much. So, you know, it's pretty great. From day one, I've really been a Trump supporter and really just a diehard conservative, even prior, like I said, to Trump announcing. And so after that, when I got kicked out, I, you know, packed up all my bags, I drove to New York, and I immediately started working undercover in the Hillary Clinton campaign for Veritas. And for 2 years, I was highly embedded. I was offered jobs within the Clinton campaign, went to fundraisers with people like Huma Abedin and got them on camera. And ultimately, you know about Veritas, it was their October surprise that really did Hillary Clinton in and really helped secure the election for President Donald Trump. So it was great. I had a really great time working for Veritas and was able to be with President Trump on election night and shake his hand as soon as the results came in and he was announced the winner of the 2016 presidential election. So it's great. And, you know, by the way, happy birthday to President Donald Trump. It was his birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Trump. After I left Project Veritas, right, where I worked for 3 years, I decided that I wanted to do independent journalism. And so my first kind of coming out moment in the public when people found out who I was during the Shakespeare in the Park play. The 2-year anniversary is coming up. I'm sure you remember when they tried to assassinate the president, and they had that scene where they were stabbing him. Well, I was the person who jumped up on stage in New York City and put it
Sycamore.
and kind of instantly, propelled me into Twitter social media stardom. And after that, I started doing my Loomer videos, which many of you have probably seen, in which I'm known for confronting high-profile left-wing politicians and jihadists, confronting anti-Semites and a lot of the proponents of Sharia law here in America. And so, I've been to Hillary Clinton's book signing where I shoved my cell phone in her face and asked her what happened in Benghazi, what happened to her 33,000 emails. I was thrown out of James Comey's book signing when I asked him about the dossier and told him he was going to be locked up and going to jail. I chased Maxine Waters into the elevator and asked her, if conservatives are supposed to sit at the back of the bus, because she seems to think that we are not allowed to participate in society because we're Trump supporters. I put illegal aliens on Nancy Pelosi's lawn in January when she said that building a wall would be an immorality. And so, I think that the best way really to show that you are a Trump supporter and a conservative and a patriot is through your actions, right? There's a lot of talk. You can say you're a conservative, but I'm all about action. I'm a woman of action. And so, I take the fire to them. I'm about giving the left a taste of their own medicine. And that's what I do with my investigative journalism. And as a result, right, of the work that I do, because it has been highly effective in supporting President Trump and conservative values, I have been deplatformed, right? So some of you may be thinking, well, what does that even mean? I had 265,000 followers on Twitter, okay? I had 100,000 followers on Facebook and over 120,000 on Instagram. I have been banned on every single social media platform, and not only just that, I've been banned by Uber, by Lyft, Uber Eats, right? I can't even order a sandwich. PayPal has banned me. I've been banned by Medium, Teespring, Lyft, and even Chase Bank, believe it or not, this might be shocking to some of you, temporarily cut off the online access to my bank account. And we're dealing with a crisis in this country right now, right? Because the left seems to think that because President Trump was able to beat Hillary Clinton, right, and we saw that he was able to utilize social media to mobilize the masses, they are now attacking Trump supporters on social media by banning us, by silencing us, and deplatforming us. Raise your hand if you have been a victim of social media censorship in one way or another.
Right here.
Right? Banned on Facebook. You ever been banned on Twitter, thrown in Facebook jail?
Yep.
Right, so a lot of you. And that's something that conservatives all around the world, and especially Trump supporters, are dealing with right now. And it's a serious issue because, you always hear about collusion and election interference and meddling, right? The Democrats are obsessed with it. I'm going to tell you right now, the problem is not Russia. The problem, if you want to talk about real collusion, is the fact that the Democrat Party is colluding with the big tech social media companies to silence and shut down conservatives so that they can steal the election in 2020, okay? And that's what they want to do. And we got to put a stop to it. And so, as the most banned woman really in the world right now, you see, Fox News has been talking about my story a lot lately, just because how egregious it is, right? I'm doing a lot to raise awareness about social media bias. I was banned by Twitter after I exposed Ilhan Omar, right? As a Jewish woman, I realized that Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib were threats to this country when no one even knew who they were, right? So I traveled to Minnesota and I investigated them on the ground and I confronted them in their face at their campaign events about, the fact that they are Jew haters, that they don't support Israel, right? That they are tied in with the Council on American Islamic Relations, a terrorist organization. The fact that they hate our president, the fact that they hate America, right? How can you have members of Congress who are advocating for members of ISIS, right, to be released? This is stuff that you don't hear on the mainstream media because we now live in an era of political correctness where telling the truth gets you banned, where telling the truth gets you blacklisted. And so a lot of these key things about these candidates, like the fact that Ilhan Omar advocated for 9 men accused of joining ISIS in Minnesota to have their sentences cut, right? They're not talking about that because people are scared of being branded as a racist or an Islamophobe. And we need to return to a point in this country where people and American patriots are not afraid of speaking truth, where they are not afraid of telling it like it is, right? Because if we allow for the left, right, these Marxists, these communists, people like AOC, people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, to continue on this destructive path, right, of identity politics, which they are trying to use to divide our country from within, right, we're going to lose our country. We're going to lose our country, and we can't allow for the left to take away our most valuable constitutional rights, things like the First Amendment, right, our freedom of speech. And so that's why I do what I do. And even while being banned, even while being censored, I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that these values that we hold so dear are protected. And so you may have seen my Stop the Bias campaign. I saw you're wearing the Stop the Bias hat over there, right? That was launched when I confronted Jack Dorsey in Congress when he was testifying, and I called him out, and I disrupted the congressional hearing. And I said, you're a liar, Jack. You are silencing and deplatforming and censoring conservatives, and you're doing this because you want to let the Democrats steal the election. And it was in the halls of Congress where I called on President Trump to do something, and I shouted, "Stop the bias." And you may have seen, right? You followed President Trump on Twitter. He tweeted, "Stop the bias." So the president is well aware of the campaign I have launched, the Stop the Bias social media campaign, which I've been fighting every single day for the last 2 years, raising awareness about these issues. I handcuffed myself to the Twitter headquarters office, right? I'm doing a lot. I'm doing a lot to fight for you and to fight for people all over the world who are having their rights infringed upon. And so, my website where people can follow me now, since I'm banned everywhere, it's lauraloomer.us. And so if you're interested in following my investigative journalism, you can go to lauraloomer.us. You can go to freeloomer.com. I've actually sued Twitter and CARE for their rules in deplatforming me. But this is a fight that's only going to intensify, right? Unfortunately, I do believe that the censorship is only going to get worse. I think that the attacks from the left are only going to increase. And so it's important that no matter how much they try to push back on us or how much they resist, okay? I like to say that the persistence will beat the resistance, right? So we have to keep persisting, right, with our conservative values and our support of President Trump and do whatever it takes to make sure that the left does not destroy this country and continue to sabotage our president and everything that we hold dear. And so I just wanted to thank you all for allowing me to use this platform as a way to convey my message and tell you about what I'm working on. And Parler, yes, I'm on Parler. Parler is a new social media app that a lot of conservatives are using. And I actually live in Palm Beach, and so I'm going to be planning on spending a lot more time here in Florida, and I hope to get to know a lot more of you and talk to a lot more of you and figure out ways that we can combat these issues together. So thank you so much.